Welcome to Sales Chaos TV. My name is Dan Waldschmidt, speaker, author, writer, runner, and instead of introducing my partner, I'll tell you Todd Schnick is just about the same thing. So our goal is to kick ass every day, and we bring you the Sales Chaos TV show once a week. If you know the format already, here's what you know. We take 8 minutes, we put it on the clock, bang, we start the timer, and when the timer is up, we have solved a problem that relates to business, being online, social media, etc., etc., etc. Okay, the topic for today is this topic about how to change the conversation on social media.
How to change the conversation on social media, okay.
And why the heck would we want to do this, right?
And why does that matter, yeah.
Well, the reality is we have these things called trending topics, and they become trends for a reason. People are talking about them, and many times you would want to take advantage of these things. Potentially, they're dangerous if you don't stop that trend. Someone's talking about how bad service you have, or something that that they feel strongly about. For instance, recently, the last few days, this whole idea of politics is a big one over the next few months. Things like gay marriage popped up that are now widely controversial, and so you have to be really good.
So what you're saying, you're using that example, is that Mitt Romney wants to talk about the economy because the economy is weak, and so Obama changed the conversation by putting out this thing about gay marriage. Okay, well that's an example of why Obama would want to change the conversation to get the focus off of the economy. So,
absolutely.
So all right. So the conversation here is about how to do that in social media.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the advantage might be your competitor is talking about we have a cheaper price, we have faster delivery. And that doesn't help you because you know they have a cheaper price or faster delivery, and you're thinking, how do we change this? So you may be thinking, well, I just send out more tweets, or I create more videos, or I just get louder, and those don't work. But here are a few things that do work. One, just compliment your competitor. Compliment the other person.
Compliment your opponent.
I mean, it's really disarming. You know, someone does something like we have the cheapest price in town. You may be thinking, yeah, but your initial response is to say something like, yeah, but you're a complete loser. And so what you've done is immediately give them credibility. And so you don't want to do that.
Well, Dan, I've always believed that if you serve your competition, you won't have any.
You have said that, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's really disarming. So here's how you might practice that. Someone says, creates a conversation that you just can't agree with or doesn't serve you well. One way to do them is to compliment on something and perhaps something else.
No, let's say you're working in a restaurant and the restaurant next door is kicking your ass.
Yeah.
What you want, you're competing with this restaurant for business.
Sure.
So what you maybe do is just say, that's a great restaurant.
It is great.
They have wonderful food.
Yeah.
I love their X and their Y and their Z.
Yeah.
And so,
but if you want good tacos,
well, you can do that. But here's the thing.
No,
Here's why I think this. My notion of serving your competition, you won't have any. Why? Because when you speak positively about the competitor next door,
yeah,
you're building trust with your audience. They're saying, boy, if this guy is talking
you're
well.
Confident.
You're confident,
yeah.
And I trust this guy, and I like him, so I think I am going to try his restaurant. So I think that's a
compliment. Just think about it. It's very disarming. Number two, another thing that's very disarming is to admit any failures or inaccuracies. Let's say you do make a mistake. Taking your restaurant example, you make tacos, and someone finds out that there's something really bad in the taco sauce, right? And that's always awkward and very uncomfortable, especially if you love those tacos. So one way to do that would be to say, oh no, we never have problems, or 99.9% of the problem we don't have time. 99% of the time we don't have problems. That's wrong. That's the wrong conversation. The right conversation is to say, we made a mistake, we're sorry.
We screwed it up, we apologize, and here's the things that we're going to do to address the issue.
Absolutely.
We wrap every show by saying, treat your customers and prospects like human beings. People like to see human frailty because they love a comeback story, and they want to reward someone who's making amends on a problem that they've had. So you talk about transparency.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where this is an example of being transparent, saying, yeah, we goofed it up.
Yeah, and you got to do it quick.
Fix it.
That's got to be your first.
Your
first response on social media has to be the apology. The first response, not the second, the third, or 3 days later. It doesn't matter. The apology doesn't matter. Okay, one, compliment. Two, admit any failures or weaknesses or things you might have done wrong and how you're going to do it better. Third, validate any concerns. Okay, Todd's pissed at me. I can understand how that might upset you. If I just go, what's your problem, dude? Now that's probably going to be more of an issue.
You're just extending the problem, making it worse, to where ultimately you're going to have to then try to change the conversation.
That's right. Someone says to you, I did service with you, I did business with you. What a complete ripoff. Well, your response may be something like, we're not a ripoff. There's a lot of people who love us. Wrong.
Response A could be, sod off, right?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't help you.
Yeah.
And the audience and your network doesn't respond favorably
No.
to that. So what we're suggesting here is to say,
I hate
I'm
to be
sorry.
ripped off. Yeah,
and I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that.
and
I'm sorry you feel that way.
that's right. I'm sorry you feel that way.
I
Exactly.
want to figure out how we can make it right.
That's right.
And that's just that is a great way.
We
and
hate
the
it
beauty of doing it on the social web. Sorry to interrupt you. Is that the public sees that?
Yes.
And they love that.
Yeah,
and
that's
that
right.
makes your brand more human, more approachable, more trustworthy, and it's got all kinds of advantages.
I think too, if you can say something like, we hate being ripped off ourselves. We're so sorry that you feel that way. You're not saying they're right, but you understand that emotional. Third,
This is number 4.
Is it number 4? Okay. Remind those of what's involved. So
stakes.
Yeah, remind them there's stakes. Get people to pay attention. So it's like if someone says we're the best restaurant in town, you may want to change the conversation by saying something like, wouldn't you enjoy a perfect night out? So in other words, you change the conversation from restaurant quality to the experience you create. And I guess part of this would be like this emotional imagery. That's probably a better example of like, instead of talking about how good your food is at a restaurant, you might talk about, you engaged, a great experience to be engaged, or the perfect date out, or something. Create this emotional
Life experience. Make it a life experience, not a meal you ate.
Yeah.
What emotions? Marketing is all about pushing emotional buttons, and so the more you can use emotional imagery or words or video, I think it adds to the dimension and it changes the conversation.
Yeah, and imagine if you're on social media and someone's talking about a great restaurant across town, and you say great restaurant for the perfect night out, or for the perfect date with your spouse, check out us. And you put the link to your site. I mean, now you've created this emotional imagery about the date, not necessarily the restaurant. It's a great move for you. Remember this, and this is 5 or 6. I'm off count here, but refuse to tell people what to do. So the best way to change the conversation is not to tell them what to do. Your competitors are going to tell people, "Come see us." You might say something like, "Wouldn't you enjoy a great tasting taco?"
Well, give them options.
Yeah.
Give them choice.
Absolutely. One thing that's hard is, on a lot of social media today, one thing that's difficult to get around is everyone's saying, buy my ebook. Well, guess what? I happen to be a contrarian, so when you tell me you have to go buy my ebook, I think, why not?
You?
Yeah.
A contrarian?
So you win by not telling people what to do. Don't force people. You don't have to do that. You can just say something like, why not take your life to the next level? Here are a few ebooks, and oh, by the way, mine is one of them. Don't tell people exactly what to do. Number 7, walk away. Walk away. One way to change the conversation is to walk away. Sometimes
There doesn't always have to be a winner and a loser.
That's right. I mean, it's really hard to deal with bullies. There are people who come to a conversation on social media. Are we almost out of time? Who come to a conversation on social media, and they've got their mind made up, and they're just going to push you around. Sometimes you just have to go and say, to change the conversation, you just have to say, hey.
Walk away and live to fight another day.
Absolutely.
But, I think it's probably about enough time for this one. But this is an interesting conversation. This was more interesting than I thought it was going to be, and we barely touched the surface on it. So
we have, and I think it's an important topic if you're on social media, because we're copying each other. Buy my ebook. So and so is great. So and so is bad. And so we're kind of creating these trends, and we're not really good at, if we disagree, how do we politely disagree, and how do we do it in a way that's charming to our audience? Like you said, our audience is watching us. It's not just the competitors. Our clients are watching us.
All right. Well, tell us what you think. Give us some other ideas on how you can change the conversation on social media. That wraps this episode. On behalf of Dan Walshman, I'm Todd Schnick. We'll see you next time on Sales Chaos TV. Remember, treat your customers and prospects like human beings.